This program contains coarse language.
Behind this red door, climate activists are locked in tense deliberations. They're planning a protest they've never attempted before.
There's no white smoke from Vatican yet, I'm afraid, folks.
And they fear the police know it.
An unmarked car and two people got out and subsequently identified themselves as police officers. One of them had their gun drawn.
They've decided to go for it, but there's a hitch.
I fucking locked myself out. Shit. Holy shit, thank you. I'm so sorry. I left my car key inside and I locked myself out.
The group Disrupt Burrup Hub is trying to stop one of Australia's biggest fossil fuel projects. They see this as a crucial moment in the battle against climate change.
Oh my god, the adrenaline, it's like kicking in.
Their target is the country's largest oil and gas company, Woodside Energy.
I'm getting like tunnel vision now.
For what 19-year-old Tilda's about to do, she could go to prison.
Picturing the run sheet, I'm just like, 6 o'clock, playtime, 6:01, lights deploy, 6:02, like...
Love you guys. Love your neck.
You so got this, Tilda.
Yeah. Got this. I'm gonna remember this day for the rest of my life. Holy fucking shit.
She's home. Yeah, she's home.
Yep. All right, folks.
This is the story of the battle for the future and the lengths all sides will go to win.
Nick, you grab that bucket.
Okay.
This is Murrujuga, 1,500 kilometres north of Perth. It's beautiful here. And in the rocks around me, there are over 1 million Aboriginal rock art images, some of them created 45,000 years ago. It's also the epicentre of a raging battle between climate activists at Woodside. Murrujuga, or the Burrup, is critical to Woodside's viability. Two vast gas plants, Karratha and Pluto, turn tens of millions of tonnes of gas into liquid every year, and huge profits. They're fed by offshore gas fields, which are running out. Woodside's solution, supported by the WA government, is a massive expansion.
Ngoro, ina meno ngai, ngoro ngo. Ejala ngai melwa go noro. Ngoro.
Nalama man Clinton Walker is proud of his country.
So the dingoes came.
It's home to one of the most significant collections of rock art in the world.
But that spotted kangaroo there with the short, thick tail is one of the megafauna kangaroos that grew, up to 3.5 meters tall. So it was a big kangaroo.
Wow. Clinton takes me to another site overlooking industry.
And you can see how close all this rock art is, to that plant over there.
And who owns it?
Yeah, so over here we've got the Karratha gas plant. It's operated by Woodside and it's owned by Woodside, BP, Shell, Chevron and a Japanese company called Mimi. And they're producing LNG, liquefied natural gas.
Many in Clinton's community have mixed feelings about Woodside.
Now, our concern as a people is the emissions, whether that's going to have an impact over, the coming years and could eventually erode all of the rock art away. And if that happens...
Another traditional owner recently won a court challenge that has forced Woodside to delay part of its expansion. Woodside employs many in the community. Clinton worked there too.
I was earning a really high wage working as an operator. You're on 250 grand a year.
Wow.
But for an Aboriginal person, it's also difficult because when we're working in those companies, we've got to weigh up our connection to our country, our responsibility as traditional owners to look after country. And it's a honey trap because, like a bee, you go get the honey, but you get too much honey, you get stuck on there, and you can't move.
If the expansion of the Burrup Hub goes ahead, some estimates predict it will produce around 6 billion tonnes of emissions over its lifetime. That would be the equivalent of 24 coal-fired power stations operating for 50 years.
When I say I can't think of a bigger climate change decision an Australian will ever make, that's a sincere opinion. It's massive.
Woodside believes the project is crucial for our transition to net zero.
When used to generate electricity, natural gas emits around half the life cycle emissions of coal. As the Prime Minister has said, it smooths the transition to renewables.
Others believe the future of our planet is at stake. The UN says relying on gas or fossil fuels will lead to a climate catastrophe.
Very good morning. It is still possible to avoid the very worst of climate change, but only with dramatic, immediate climate action. The solution is clear. Then licensing or funding of new oil and gas, stopping the expansion of existing oil and gas reserves, and supporting the just transition of the impacted developing countries.
In response to this, Disrupt Burrup Hub has escalated their campaign from invading a football pitch and graffitiing artwork to letting off a stink bomb. This is the Unexpected Centre of Civil Disobedience in Western Australia. Gathered here are protesters with a local branch of the climate activist group Extinction Rebellion. Their protests are sometimes illegal.
I'm not your typical criminal, though. Your typical criminal doesn't sit around waiting to get arrested, and your typical criminal doesn't tip off the media just before they start an action. And your typical criminal might even have some remorse.
For us, climate is such a strong issue. It's existential crisis, all these things that it's that if we don't do something, then we are criminals.
Extinction Rebellion started in the UK and changed the face of the climate movement.
I am so proud and thrilled to be part of Extinction Rebellion.
They're famously known for shutting down London for 4 days.
Anyone that does not wish to be arrested.
Extinction Rebellion was imported to Australia in 2019 and quickly spread with branches all over the country.
Come in.
Nice.
Yeah. This is a space for us to meet, a space for us to socialise, a space for us to keep our things.
Yeah. Carmen Stobus is one of Extinction Rebellion's staunch frontline protesters. And are you here in this picture?
Yeah, I'm the third protesters back in the picture.
So this one just here?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. And did you get arrested for that one?
No. We got a move on notice.
Yeah.
But we'd finished the action by then, so we cleaned up after ourselves and we went home. And that's kind of the experiences we'd been having with the police. It had been a respectful sort of relationship. Sometimes we can put months apart.
Carmen was one of the first climate protesters to be targeted by WA's State Security Investigations Group, informally known as the State's Counter-Terrorism Squad. They're usually deployed to deal with violent extremists and threats to state and national security. But now they're targeting protesters in the climate movement. 2 years ago, Carmen and her group used chalk paint to spray anti-Woodside logos on a footbridge next to the company's headquarters.
Oh, graffiti artist, beauty.
We sprayed until there was no footpath left to spray and went to a coffee shop and had a coffee together.
2 weeks later, Carmen got a knock on the door.
Right, it's on now. You right?
Okay.
Is this?
Sorry.
Is this legit or?
Yeah. This is for a sec. Everything's being recorded, okay? This is to protect you and protect us, all right? And we're here for the purpose of executing a CI search warrant. Can you please just introduce yourself, Carmen?
My name's Carmen Stobus.
4 armed State Security Investigations officers in bulletproof vests raided Carmen's house in front of her teenage daughters.
What I would like to do right now is just to advise you that you are being placed under arrest, okay? On suspicion only of criminal damage, okay?
It's going to upset my kids.
On the risk assessment for the raid, police classify Extinction Rebellion as a gang or organised criminal entity.
So you're treating me like a terrorist?
No, we just want to give you your rights, okay? So carry on, please.
Officers from this unit, who are used to taking down violent extremists, are looking for paint used in 2 recent graffiti protests.
Just up here is more paint, is it? Fabric paint, poster paint. Yeah, and there's lots of different, poster paint. Large amounts of it.
Remember how it's out large amounts?
Yeah.
There's one poster paint and one blue poster paint and one blue fabric paint. Is that large amounts?
Oh, okay. There's a lot of bottles.
Yeah, but they're all different colours. You need different colours.
Oh, okay. Yep.
The officers then approached Carmen's daughters.
Hello. Sorry to wake you up. Could I just get you to introduce yourself on camera, please?
I'm Melissa Butterworth.
Sorry. Would you mind introducing yourself on camera?
Do you remember what Caitlin said? When the police officer asked her for her name?
No, I can't remember what Caitlin said.
She said, "I'm terrified."
Some of the charges against Carmen Stobus were dropped. She was found not guilty for the rest. We asked WA Police to explain the raid, but Assistant Commissioner Joe McCabe couldn't answer our questions.
And I can only assume, again not knowing the detail, that there was justification for the search warrant.
Okay, but you can't tell me what that justification was?
No, don't know the case in particular.
Mother of 2, Talia Stolarski, is a member of the Disrupt Burrup Hub group that recently split from Extinction Rebellion.
I have to wake you up this morning. Normally you guys are up before me, aren't you?
She's facing the full force of the new police response to climate protesters in WA.
It's going to be super cold tonight.
She's getting ready to go to court.
All right, shoes, bag, water bottles are on the table. What else?
I want to eat with you.
With me? I don't know if there'll be time for me to eat too, but we'll try.
I'm going to bring that doggy bag.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to bring that as Toto.
She's charged with aggravated burglary for attempting to set off a stink bomb at Woodside's AGM in April. It's the most serious offence any climate activist has ever been charged with in WA.
Go away. Please.
She's looking at up to 20 years in prison.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hello. Hey guys.
Hey, how you going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good.
You ready?
Yeah, sure.
Jared Mazza is also facing charges.
10 minutes. Great.
He's Disrupt Burrup Hub's main strategist.
Sweet. I think my suspicion is that they're going to just start opposing bail for us as a matter of, you know, as the normal thing. Hi.
They're meeting the group's media advisor, Jesse Noakes. He's also going to court today. Against the backdrop of increased protest activity, our investigations found climate activists across the country are being charged with serious offences in unprecedented numbers.
We tried to...
Records kept by major activist groups show that since 2021, almost 100 of their members have faced the threat of a significant jail term. Prior to that, there were almost none.
The prospect of going to jail for 20 years is frightening. Obviously, I've got 2 young kids. So, yeah, the idea of going to jail at all is quite scary for me.
In court, the police argue that the 3 should be prevented from contacting each other. Their lawyer, Zara Burgess, convinces the magistrate that that's unnecessary.
These kinds of conditions are what we would normally see in relation to outlaw motorcycle gangs, not peaceful climate activists. And certainly it appears to be that police are continuing with their crackdown on the lawful activities of climate activists.
No sooner have the activists left court for one protest, they go straight to a planning meeting for another.
Sure, we've got materials, media training, rehearsal and security rundown. Does that sound about right? Yeah?
Despite the increased legal threat, this next protest will be Disrupt Burrup Hub's boldest yet.
We do rehearsal before media training?
Definitely.
Yeah.
They've invited us to their rehearsal. We don't know their exact target.
You put this end in to the paint.
Yeah.
And you pull it up. That'll suck the paint in.
Oh, sick.
Put the lid on.
Yeah.
And then squeeze it out.
Okay. I just cannot find the instructions. Hey, it's actually.
Can you just give that a go?
Yeah.
Oh. No, it's coming out that end. It doesn't seem to want to fill these up, so I'm going to try and put these on.
Oh.
The other side. That bit there, yeah.
A go, and then maybe can the cap go on that other bit?
Possibly.
Great, I can't believe it was on clearance for $9, but it's like a water gun and a balloon filler. Like, you fill up 100 balloons in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Tilda Lane Rose will be taking the lead role. Her protest is scheduled to take place before dawn tomorrow.
Just pump up.
Yeah.
Do you want ones from the top through?
I reckon let's go from the top through.
You've got it, Tilda?
6. So we start 6
a.m. is playtime.
Yeah, 6 playtime. 6:01 spray. 6:02 tit. 6:03 lob. 6:04 lock. 6:05 piece to camera, and then.
That's perfect. The only thing you missed was deploy lights.
Oh shit! Yeah.
But I will deploy the lights. Yeah.
Spot on. All right.
We're there. Lights on. 6 o'clock. I send a text message. I'm gonna go first.
Obviously not going to be on such an angle.
Put it on the thing first, right?
Yeah.
Do you want me to hold it straight?
That would be great, actually.
And you have plenty of time. Nice one.
Okay.
And then I will be standing about where Nick is.
Yep.
And we'll do
Piece to camera.
piece to camera. Yep.
Saying something profound, moving, brave, bold, intellectual.
Great. I reckon maybe let's do a round of how did it feel?
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. So it's good to actually get stuff on a wall.
Yep, I felt good. I felt a little bit flustered, so
Yeah.
a bit of time pressure, but that's okay. We've actually got a bit of time.
That second lob you did was spot on.
Tilda is expecting to go into custody. I ask her for her final reflections.
The thing that I'm targeting, I think it's something that really matters to me, especially as like a young person who often feels like quite disempowered within the political system. And I think like just sort of I'm like sticking it to the man and saying, listen to me, which is, yeah, exciting.
I have no idea what you're going to do tomorrow, but I'm assuming it's got an element of breaking the law.
Yeah, it does, so yeah.
And you're confident you want to do that?
Yeah, I'm really confident. I think that I feel like I've exhausted every other avenue, really. So this is, yeah, I think the logical next step in my sort of fight to pursue what matters to me.
On the other side, the fight is just as fierce. We really wanted to show you Woodside's perspective, but they declined multiple times. So we've relied on industry analysts to bring you a different view.
We can't just, look at our gas industry, for example, and say it needs to shut tomorrow because it is integral to Australia's economy and global civilization.
Energy analyst Saul Kavanagh thinks we should be proud of our gas sector.
Projects like the Burrup Hub have a couple of key elements to them. It's actually a big provider of domestic gas to Australia. This is very good for high-paying jobs domestically. Keep in mind, over the last couple of years, and including the last budget surplus, a very large chunk of that surplus would not have been there if not for taxes from Australia's LNG sector.
Australia is the world's biggest exporter of liquid natural gas. A quarter of it is processed in the Burrup Peninsula. Saul says preventing Woodside's expansion is reckless.
If we look globally, particularly in the wake of the tragic Ukraine war last year, our allies and trading partners in Europe and Asia are very worried about energy security. And for them, energy security is not just a cost of living issue, it's a national security issue for them. And so they look to Australia to provide their energy needs.
Mr Chairman, I'd like to introduce Ms Jessica Panegyris. She's a proxy.
During a shareholders meeting last year,
as a very proud Western Australian, I'd love to see WA...
environmental activists holding proxy votes put questions to Woodside CEO Meg O'Neill.
So my question is, how is Woodside addressing the risk that pushing more gas into our key Asian export markets may be displacing renewable energy?
Ms O'Neill reiterated how important our gas is to our Asian allies.
We work very closely with our Japanese customers who are utility providers, and they're very clear that they cannot meet their customers' needs through solar and wind alone.
Chairman, I'd like to introduce Mr David Ritter, who is a...
At the same meeting, Woodside's chair, Richard Goyder, disputed claims by Greenpeace CEO David Ritter that Woodside's business practices go against UN policy.
I think the United Nations would say that actually energy security and providing people who are moving to have a sort of standard of living that you enjoy today, supported by fossil fuels today, that they're entitled to that, and that businesses like Woodside that are part of the energy transition, that are part of moving the world to net zero by 2050 are an important part of it.
Look, a gas company seeking to gaslight the United Nations is quite something.
That's not.
This is not a statement that...
Can we close down microphone 5, please, and we'll move to microphone 3? Thank you.
They want to delay the transition as much as they can. Because it's what they know. It's what the executives' bonuses are based on. They just want to keep on going as they are.
Alex Hillman was a lobbyist and climate change advisor for Woodside. He worked for the company for almost a decade. Now working with the Australasian Centre for Corporate Responsibility, he says that even if part of the Burrup Hub expansion is approved, it'll be a huge source of emissions.
North West Shelf Extension is currently undergoing environmental approvals. That approval would allow it to emit, and will process and emit, about 4 billion tonnes of emissions. The scale of this thing is hard to understand.
Alex says the industry relies on a tight relationship with the top echelons of government.
So Woodside donates more money to both major political parties than any other Australian fossil fuel company. It employs politicians as directors to influence state policy and ministerial decisions. Both times Woodside's faced a carbon price, it's lobbied against them and it's been repealed.
One of the starkest examples of this is when former Premier Mark McGowan personally intervened to advance the interests of industry.
I took a phone call from the Premier and we had a discussion. It was very clear that he did not want to see the resource industry hamstrung by conditions on greenhouse gas emissions that they felt were untenable. It was rather extraordinary.
This is the former head of the independent agency, the Environmental Protection Authority of WA, speaking to ABC News a few weeks ago. In 2019, Tom Hatton published new guidelines for industry to offset emissions from all new large polluting projects to net zero. It was a kind of a carbon tax. Woodside and the gas industry pushed back.
It's an issue that'll affect oil and gas investment, mining investments, other developments, even things like fertilizer plants. So there's thousands of jobs at stake. It's not just our business.
After a meeting with industry representatives, including Meg O'Neill, the then Premier Mark McGowan rang the head of the EPA.
It wasn't a very long phone call. It was a very direct, a very straightforward request that he did not want us to continue with those guidelines and wanted us to withdraw them. I tried to have a conversation to say, well, you know, we're happy to do further consultation if that's what's required. And he said, no, I want you to withdraw the guidelines.
Tom Hatton previously told the ABC he felt he had no choice.
It was highly unorthodox and, in my view, inappropriate. I felt I had the whole reputation of 50 years of EPA on my shoulders, but also the environmental future of the state on my shoulders.
And thank you to all you. Thanks to the media.
Mark McGowan resigned from government 4 months ago. Four Corners has confirmed he's joining resources giant BHP and mining company Mineral Resources as a consultant. McGowan's then treasurer, Ben Wyatt, is now a director with Woodside. Neither McGowan nor Wyatt responded to requests for an interview.
It's not big news that companies come and try to influence government.
Former long-term Labor Minister Alana McTiernan was part of the cabinet that approved some of the Burrup expansion. She rejects any suggestion the government has been captured by industry.
The role of government is to really look at the arguments, understand the community's aspirations and work out what is achievable.
She says the state needs the Burrup expansion because it's not ready to shut down gas completely. But she is critical of sections of the industry over the pace of the transition to renewable energy.
We've got to drive those companies harder, and I've said this to them many times. Like, you can't just dabble around the edges, making it appear that you are interested in funding the technology for the transition. You've got to get in there, and you've really got to be part of that solution.
Which companies have been most resistant to change?
Well, I'll pass on that.
What about Woodside?
I've certainly always encouraged Woodside to be more ambitious.
It's August 1st, protest day.
Do you know where you're going, Jesse? Yep. Well, I should tell everyone we're going to touch down in about what?
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Probably right on sunrise, I reckon.
Anyone have any final words? Bye, Tilda. Nice knowing you.
I'm just very, 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 very proud.
This is the moment Tilda's been preparing for.
Got this?
Ready?
What am I doing?
But as the Disrupt Burrup Hub activists pull up, police are waiting.
Please don't move! Please do not move! Do not move!
You're under trespass. Get back. We'll go over this.
Come over this way, please. Under arrest.
First off, I'll give you a set. My name's First
So we've been following the protesters to this address. It looks like this is the house of Woodside Energy CEO Meg O'Neill. And the protest that they've planned was probably going to be at the gate of Ms O'Neill's house. As soon as the protesters arrived, police were waiting for them here, stopped them immediately and put them under arrest.
Over the next half hour, more and more police show up. The seriousness of the police operation quickly becomes apparent. WA's State Security Investigation Squad is in charge. Soon, they turn their attention to the ABC.
Yes, I'm with the ABC. Okay. Yeah, with the Four Corners program. Sure. My name is Hagar Cohen. And you?
I'm Roger Haynes from the State Security Investigation Group.
Okay.
This van here.
Roger Haynes asks to search our ABC van.
Do you have a search warrant?
But I will invoke.
He thinks we have the activists' phones inside, but then he changes his mind.
All good? Oh, he's all good. He doesn't need it anymore.
Thank you.
Understood.
After about an hour, the activists are bundled into a police car and taken into custody. Jared Mazza is charged with trespass. He, Jesse Noakes and Tilda Lane Rose are charged with conspiracy to commit an indictable offence.
Hi Joe, how are you? How are you guys going? Just a bit thrown, I think.
Later that morning, I caught up with Talia at Joanna Partika's apartment. The story about the protest was all over the papers. I wanted to know why Disrupt Burrup Hub thought their actions were justified.
Did you see, though, Meg O'Neill released a statement to the papers today?
No.
She said she was terrified.
What's the headline? Climate activists target home of Woodside Energy boss. That line, such acts by extremists should be condemned by anyone who respects the law and believes people should be safe to go about their business at home and at work. Like, what about my
That's the point.
kids?
That's the point of why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Like, what about my kids feeling safe when they're adults? You know, me feeling like they're going to have, be able to have a safe home.
But you don't feel that this kind of action would be terrifying?
You know, she would know this campaign is a non-violent campaign. I don't see any reason.
Pales in comparison to the terror that we all feel, A, every day as people living in a climate crisis fueled by Woodside, and B, as individuals being targeted by the state for trying to fight.
The action today probably does represent somewhat an escalation in the campaign. Do you think that the police are feeling like, okay, this is the radicalisation of this group?
I don't see today's action being an escalation. Our strategy is to escalate or use innovative tactics.
Oh, it's the police. Yeah, you should check that. Yeah, yes.
Hello, Talia speaking. Yeah, hi, good, thanks.
A state security investigations officer tells Talia that there are 6 of them outside her house with a search warrant. Talia's told if she doesn't go home, they'll break in.
I am leaving now. I can be there in 20 minutes. Sure. Yeah. No, I don't
Doors closing. Elevator going down.
This year alone, Disrupt Burrup Hub activists have been charged with indictable offences 23 times. All right, so I can see a couple of police officers just at the front of Talia's house. We think it's from the counter-terrorism squad. We're going to go and check it out.
Yeah. Hi, Talia.
Hi.
I'm Detective Along from the WA Police. Just to let you know, at the moment you're currently under arrest on suspicion of conspiracy to commit an indictable offence.
Why?
I'll explain your rights first and then I'll go into all of that. But right now, you're currently under arrest.
Talia Stolarski's house is being searched for the 3rd time in 4 months.
Do say or do will be recorded.
Can I have the warrant?
Yes,
a copy of it's here. We'll give you a copy. We'll do that.
I'll do that on video.
Do I have the copy now?
Yeah, absolutely. There you are.
Would you like to come inside?
No, I just want to read.
You're currently under arrest, so
come inside.
But I can. I'm pretty sure I can read the warrant.
We'll close it.
The officers take nearly 2 hours to go through Talia's belongings. They're hoping to uncover evidence of the planning for the Meg O'Neill protest.
You're welcome to come in.
You're
I'm
staying?
not under arrest.
You're not under arrest
I'm no
anymore?
longer under arrest.
Okay, and not been charged with anything?
No, not at this point.
Goodbye. Okay, maybe see you again soon.
That was a bit of
We asked Assistant Police Commissioner Joe McCabe to explain their response. I guess, how do you justify devoting this amount of resources towards this group and this particular protest?
Well, that depends on the intelligence and then putting a response accordingly to that. But we don't know what else that was being planned. We don't know what else we disrupted.
Do you think that the fact that this was the personal residence of the CEO of Woodside, a big company here in the state, would have made a difference to the police response?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's of no relevance to us if that person is the CEO of Woodside, or Mrs. Jones, a member of our community.
What is the security risk that climate activists pose these days?
From time to time, we have intelligence that may suggest that people are going to breach the law. But in general, we don't think most of the protest behaviour that we see, is radicalising people.
So
On what grounds was the State Security Investigations Unit deployed to police climate activists?
Look, I can't talk about individual investigations.
Is it because they're motivated by a particular ideology or political ideas?
No, not at all.
Joe McCabe says that police partly justify the involvement of state security because the activists set off a stink bomb at Woodside's headquarters back in June.
You know, we had people going to hospital as a result of that incident. So if our State Security Investigations Group are keeping an eye on the team in Disrupt Burrup, it's because of their previous behaviour.
A police spokesperson later retracted this statement, saying that some people felt sick, but there were no hospitalisations. In the days following the protest outside Meg O'Neill's house, a media storm erupted. The ABC's presence at the protest was criticised.
As the Minister asked the ABC if the person who took the decision to send along a camera crew in these circumstances will be sacked.
This smells, this reeks that there's something dodgy going on here.
No, they really need to have a good hard look.
What happened Tuesday has left me shaken, fearful, and distressed.
After our repeated attempts to get an interview with Woodside CEO Meg O'Neill, we were told that the company will not take part in our program because of our presence at the protest outside the CEO's house.
2 gas industry associations also refused to be interviewed, as did the WA Premier Roger Cook, Environment Minister and Energy Minister. Woodside's chairman Richard Goyder and director Ben Wyatt didn't respond to our approaches. Another director, former Federal Resources Minister Ian Macfarlane, sent a text saying our team should be ashamed of our atrocious behaviour.
So this is your room?
Yes, yeah, this is my bedroom.
Nice.
And just down there are the red Nike TNs that I was wearing the morning of the action.
At the centre of this controversy, 19-year-old Tilda Lane Rose is resolute.
And ultimately everyone was like, Tilda, this is your decision.
I wanted to know how Tilda felt about Meg O'Neill's reaction to her protest.
Was that your intent to cause her fear?
No, not at all. I think it obviously sparked some personal reflection. Like, obviously you'd have to be very cold and callous to say, I don't care about her. You know, like this action wasn't designed to strike terror into Meg. It was designed to hold someone who's accountable for what's happening on the bar accountable.
Did you cross any kind of ethical lines because it was targeting personal residence?
I think no matter what we do, it's going to cross a line to some people.
For now, Tilda feels that non-violent direct action is the only way forward. The question is, how far is the climate protest movement willing to go to achieve their goals?
And do you see the act of breaking the law, civil disobedience, as a last resort?
I hope it's the last resort, because the only other thing after this is violence. Extinction Rebellion are not supporters of violence. They are firmly non-violent, but I think other protest groups will emerge that will use violence out of desperation.
Is it something you'd be willing to do?
Who can say? I don't think so. I hope not, but I'm only human.